Glenn was one of my favorite characters. Glenn and Carol, because of because of where they started and where they went. Fairly early in the show, they evolved those characters incredibly as a fan. So when the deaths came and we found out we were doing them together, one of my concerns was that my death was going to in any way diminish from the fan reaction to wanting to sort of console and be there for Glenn. So I'm with you. But I think ultimately, you know, the fans of the show are emotionally intelligent and they got it. I mean, I felt very missed and loved and
continue to be missed and loved and celebrated.
Yeah, so I don't agree with the framing of your question.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Do you guys have any, like, a single episode that stands out for you? Because I just actually found you've never worked on the show together, but you guys are friends. You like each other, and that's why you're here. So, separately, what was the standout episode for you that you were in?
Mine was probably the one that defined my character, and that's when Amy died. That was a pretty defining, that entire moment just changed the trajectory of Andrea's life and just all of it. And I think that first season in particular was special because we didn't know what we were doing. We knew that the scripts were awesome, that we had Frank Darabont, who's, you know, an auteur, Galen Hurd. We knew that we were working with really great people, but, you know, we didn't know what the show was yet. We hadn't aired at Comic-Con. It hadn't become a phenomenon, so we were working in a bubble. And it was just a very special time because we were seeing each other, each have our moments. You know, there were big moments that everybody had. Mine that season was losing Amy, and you look at your comrade, like, bringing it, and it was like, what are we doing? Like, this is like big, like, this is like a film. And everybody really supported and trusted each other, and there was such a vulnerability that we all had because we were shooting in the backwoods of Georgia, and we were very raw, and there was a love and a support, and we knew we were part of something special. So that moment in time, I will never forget.
For me, I think it sounds strange. I had a blast doing the show. So there isn't a day that even on the worst day, that it wasn't amazing. But my favorite scene was when I say goodbye to Eugene, because I was actually saying goodbye to Josh. And we both knew that was our last scene together. So there's this sort of strange world where reality and art sort of, you know, mix. And so there was a lot going on for both of us because we flew out together. We'd never met each other. We flew out together. We saw each other on the plane. Kind of knew, I think that's the guy. And then we both got our bags and we walked out to the curb in Atlanta, and we're both standing there. And he's like, "You're playing Abraham?" I said, "Yeah." "You're playing Eugene?" He's like, "Yeah, cool." So we met. Like, the first interaction I had in Georgia was with Josh, personally, at the airport on the curb, waiting to get picked up. And then we've just gotten closer ever since, and we're still in touch with each other. And, you know, throughout the show, I think Lori can attest, it's like there are certain relationships that we have. Usually it's just a job, you do your job and you go your way. And you may have had an amazing time, but it's over. This is something that there are specific relationships that will carry over for, you know, for the long haul. And it's a job that has absolutely changed the trajectory of my career, and I think everybody connected to it has had, you know, a similar experience with that. It's just a big, shows don't get this successful in general. So to be part of it, and I was just a small part of it. I was on for 2.5 years. I'm an 11-year run. but it stays with you and it stays with your career.
Appreciate both your answers. Thank you very much.
Hi there, my name is Adrian, and I really love both of your characters in The Walking Dead. You both did an awesome job. I have a question for Michael. I'm wondering, I love both of your shows, in particular Clarice and The Kids Are All Right. And I'm wondering about those shows because I really enjoyed both of them, but they were so short, and I feel like we didn't get a complete storyline. And I'm wondering, how does that feel for you as an actor when the storyline get cut short by a network decision or for whatever reason?
I think that's more the common thing that happens. That's not the exception. The exception is for the show to run for a really long time. So unfortunately, I think we get used to that. We sort of know when we're on a series or we're doing a guest spot on something that may or may not go longer. I'm sorry, I'll slow down just a little bit for you. I realized I was overrunning our interpreter. So to be in that situation, yes, it's disappointing. But I find that for me, and I think most actors, we get more disappointed for the fans than we do for ourselves, because I think we expect, it's like it's a unicorn. To get cast in a pilot is unheard of. To have the pilot turn into a series is unheard of. To have that series run more than 1 year is unheard of. So to have all those things, actually happen, that's the exception. So I guess, yes, disappointed. Those things are out of our control. But I usually feel more for the fans than I do for me.
Okay, go ahead over here.
Hi, my question is for Lori. I'm wondering, you have a lot of dark and heavy scenes towards the Woodbury arc with the governor, and then you've also built a connection with Norman, both on screen and I guess off screen. So I'm wondering, how do you decompress from those scenes with the governor, as well as what your chemistry with Norman is off screen?
I need to understand my chemistry with, like, I adore Norman, I mean, we met, he's like a kid. We're kind of like 6-year-olds trapped in middle-aged bodies. Me and Norman, like, we were the ones that were like, put more dirt on us, and when we didn't feel like they gave us enough dirt, we would just sneak behind the trailers and dig in ourselves and, make a mess like Pigpen from, Snoopy. I don't know what that question is, other than I love Norman and I'm thrilled for him that he's continuing to do Daryl Dixon, because I know nobody loved the show more than him. Well, I can't say that. I can't speak for other people. I just know that he loved it so much. In terms of decompressing, this was a very hard show for me to decompress from. I think it's because I played a suicidal person for so many years before. It was actually harder for me emotionally in the beginning because I literally had to have a nervous breakdown twice a week while I was shooting. I had to jump in a grave, sob over my dying sister, but like for real, not just like scared from a zombie, like just like the worst. And it made, Andrea suicidal. She wanted to die with the CDC, and then you see the arc of her getting stronger and choosing to live and to be a leader. So this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and I don't mean to sound all like actory, like annoying, when actors are just like pontificating and people are like, oh my God, just like get to the good parts. But the truth of the matter is that your body doesn't know the difference. And if you really, if you build it in your imagination and you do bring it in your body, sensorially, emotionally, which we did, nobody phoned it in. When Andrea had a nervous breakdown, Laurie Holden experienced that because it was me cellularly ripping my guts apart to give a performance. Your body carries that, and it's very hard to decompress. So in between seasons, it was just really about self-care, because it is hard, because your body just thinks that you did lose the love of your life, that you did lose your family, that you did, and even though you're an actor playing a part, as a human being, it's the same thing, because they've done like these scientific experiments that say that your imagination is as strong as your reality. And so if you build it, it's literally I'm repeating myself, but it's the exact same thing as if it was real. So the answer to your question is, I didn't want to play any parts for a very long time that required any sort of emotional torture. I purposely chose, like Dumb and Dumber and The Americans and things that were lighter and more cerebral, because I didn't want to go down that road again. I was tired, as anybody would be,
Thank you.
That's not to say I won't do it again.
Yeah, and I would add, and Lori can correct me if I'm wrong about this situation. The pain, yes. The beating yourself up, yes. The holy shit, what am I doing, yes. But it is so much fun to do.
So much fun to do. And
our
so
worst
rewarding.
days are our best days.
Yeah. But it's like a car with gas, right? It's like you give a lot emotionally, and then you kind of like, you tap out, and you just kind of have to just, kind of fill up again. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready to be in another apocalypse and have a nervous breakdown. So yeah, I'm pretty much ready to go again. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Go ahead over here.
Hi, my name's Rebecca. I love your answers to the last question. I love theater. It's like the one thing I do, like outside of sitting in my room, I guess. So I just, that was really cool to hear. I liked it a lot. Yeah, so I've been a big fan of The Walking Dead, and I love it, and I love seeing your phenomenal performances on screen. It's just overall such a great show. And within the scope of the show, we've seen a lot of traveling. We've traveled from Atlanta to Alexandria, and then in the spin-offs, Maggie goes to Manhattan and Daryl goes to France. So my question was, if Andrea and Abraham could go anywhere in the world to survive and fight walkers, where would you guys want to go?
I want to be with Daryl. I want to be in the south of France. Have a baguette.
Yeah, Michael would like to go to France.
Yeah.
Abraham just wants to go home. He would sell it all for a quiet cul-de-sac and have his family back again and do it right this time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you. We're happy to be here. You guys are awesome.
It's your turn. Go ahead.
Oh, I reiterate all of that. We are really happy to have Walking Dead here today. A little anecdote, you can see I have a t-shirt that says Property of Negan. I had Property of Negan?
Barely, you're immensely backlit.
Okay, well, I met someone who considered himself Negan about 7 seasons in. I had no idea. Didn't even like horror. But he said it was a deal breaker if I didn't watch every season until the next season came on.
To date you?
For me to date him, yes.
Damn.
We're still together.
Okay, thank God for that.
And my question really is that the fandom is so intense. And of course I love Walking Dead now, I just didn't have a clue. But after continual watching for a little bit, I got to the plan, love it. I'm just wondering if you ever thought that you would be having to work in such a bug-infested sort of place. Not the best working conditions.
The fandom or Georgia? kidding.
Thanks.
I personally love the working conditions. I was lucky. Mosquitoes don't like me. I didn't get bit. I know that my comrades like all got bit. They left me alone. The hotter, the more humid, the more awful. I loved it because I feel like the heat is another character in the film. And I feel like all of us gave better performances with those circumstances because the oppressive heat just really just built, you know, the mood, the backdrop. It enhanced the given circumstances. So I loved Georgia so much that I ended up building a place there. Like I loved it so much that I was like, I'm not leaving until I stake my claim. Like I am a huge Atlanta, Georgia fan. So I loved every single moment and thought that that was the absolute perfect location for our show. And it would not have been the same show if there weren't the bugs and the heat, if it was pushy and we were all on our cell phones somewhere in balmy Los Angeles. I don't think that it would have been what it is.
Yeah, agreed.
Very, very gritty, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The more dirt, the better.
And the conditions in the state and the weather did half the work for you. They really did. 100% agree.
Go ahead.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I was just wondering if zombie apocalypse was real, what would your survival strategy be?
Okay, now I want you to repeat that first part, what you just said slowly.
Or,
If the zombie apocalypse
or
was
not,
real.
sorry, if like zombies actually existed.
Yeah.
What would your
Yeah. I'm playing with you. Zombies actually existed. Go
I
ahead.
kind of feel like they do. I don't know, this world has gotten so insane. Sometimes I say to my husband, I'm like, when did the world get just so crazy? Like, it just feels like, doesn't it feel like with the climate and it's just, everything's just a little harder than it used to be a few years ago. It's unprecedented times. I do think that if there was a zombie apocalypse, I do think that, I don't know, maybe it's just my experience doing this in film and whatever my personal life experiences are, but I do, I kind of, people always, well, I don't even know how to phrase this. I'm very level-headed when it comes to catastrophe. I don't know what it is about me, but like if the shit hits the fan, usually I'm very calm. I can't say that about all the other times, so I do think that if that kind of a thing happened, I think that I do think I'd be able to lead and to help people. I would want to just help people, and I think I could be efficient doing that. I mean, my God, we're talking about a zombie apocalypse, just any sort of apocalypse. I just, I think I would be calm enough to make the best decisions that I possibly could to help the people I love and to help everybody around. I mean, I hope, right? But is that a strange answer?
I always say you don't have to be the fastest, just don't be the slowest. It's the bear math. If the bear's chasing you and you're in a group.
But if you're hot-headed, you like, then that's when you like start shooting the wrong people and you like start eating all the food and you know what I mean?
No,
like you gotta just,
I agree. Yeah.
you just looked at me like I was insane.
No, I'm just.
You're like, okay, hold
No.
on, maybe I'll shack up
I
with
just
you
don't
during
think.
an apocalypse.
Yeah, I might because I just don't know how long I'd last. Everyone's like, oh, you kick ass. I'm like, I don't know. I might tap out after a couple days.
You'd be fine.
I might just go, I don't really know if this is worth it. Every single person we bump into, I gotta worry if they're gonna take my
Be
shit.
in your cul-de-sac with your family.
Stop, take my stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you. Go ahead over here.
Yes, thanks. I wanted to ask a non-Walking Dead question. Is that allowed?
Of course.
Yeah. And Lori, when I was talking with Michael about 20 minutes or so ago, I said that season 1 and 3, Walking Dead, I put at the very, very top of anything that's ever been on television, so I'm not a fan. I do, but Band of Brothers. I had the pleasure of talking with Michael, and if anybody hasn't seen that show, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's the best thing I've ever seen on television. My question is, if it's so real, how much of the props and the gear is authentic, and did you get to keep anything?
All of it was real, and what they didn't, if they didn't have it, it was recreated to manufacturer specifications. In most cases, by the companies that made them initially. Like Corcoran reissued our boots. They ran off like 1,000 boots for us. So they're actual Corcoran boots. They don't make those boots anymore. All the weapons were all restored. All the uniforms were either surplus that they had or manufactured by the same companies that made them initially. What was the second part of the question?
Souvenir. You take anything?
Souvenir. What did I take? I took my boots.
You did?
So I have my Corcorans. I took my dog tags. And I think that's it. And then I saw everything else years later online being auctioned off, which I get it. People want to have a little piece of the show, but I found it incredibly offensive. So I'm glad I just owned the boots and I have the memories. I don't even have that many pictures of me in Denver, because I never wanted to take pictures when I was with them. I just wanted to spend time with them. So yeah, just those two things.
All right, thank you. And I do appreciate you weren't in 1 and 3, but the character was awesome in Walking Dead. Thank you.
Thank you. Aside from your time on The Walking Dead, is there like a standout role that you've had that just really impacted you, besides The Walking Dead, of all the things you've done?
Everything that I mean, it's not all been great stuff, but I've had a great time doing it. It's like, we're very fortunate. We do what we love doing for a living.
Hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear? Okay, good.
I think it's because you're going like this.
I'm not holding it here. It's open in here. I do. Yeah, I'm really excited about what I'm doing now, which is Lex Luthor on Superman and Lois. They're letting me have so much fun with it, and it's this next season is ridiculous. You know, like you said, Band of Brothers is a life-changing experience. It affected so many aspects of not only my life, but the families of the members of the company, Band of Brothers, the actual soldiers. We met and still are in contact with many of the family members. I did a show called Southland, the cop show in Los Angeles. That, again, another show that affected the way I look at the city I live in. I learned so much about it that the news told me these areas, don't ever go into them, and you finally go into them and you realize there's these amazing communities there. So I'm just, I don't know, all of it. I'm an incredibly lucky person to be able to do what I love to do for a living.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I feel the same way. I just had an X-Files reunion, and I saw people that I haven't seen in 20 years. And it was literally like we stopped shooting a few weeks ago. And I was on that on and off for years. It was my first big job when I graduated from university. And I feel like so many things like The Shield, you know, when I run into Sean Ryan or Mike Chiklis, or any of them, it's like when you're part of something and you're building something beautiful and special, it's just, there's so much, it's not just the work, it's the people, and it's the creative family that you form, and I have nothing but gratitude for every opportunity I've ever had, and I'm grateful that whoever has hired me found me, and that we found each other, because it's very symbiotic. Like, they think you're right for something, and it's like love. It's like a love affair, right? Like they've got to think that you're the right person, but you also have to be vibing it too, you know. And it's kind of lightning in a bottle when you work on something wonderful, and it happens that way. And so yeah, people always ask me what my favorite role is, and I don't have one, because I look back at special times in my life, and I just have so much gratitude, you know.
Go ahead over here.
Hi, this question is for the both of you. If one of your characters had to die a different way, what would it be?
On the show, on The Walking Dead?
Yeah, Walking Dead.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have done that whole, like, governor dance, right? Like, you know, there's no going back, so it's kind of like, it's a hard question to ask, but if there was a magic wand, I would be like, with Michonne, we would have gone to the prison together, and I would be with my friends indefinitely, and I would have, like, beat the crap out of Negan, and, you know, all that jazz. But it is what it is.
Yeah, the what if questions get hard sometimes, because it's like there aren't what ifs. Because the writers write what it is, and everything connected to it. It's like, oh, if you didn't get killed, would you kick his ass? It's like, I don't know if they wrote that I kicked his ass, or they could have wrote that I got knocked unconscious. You know, it's like you don't know. If I had my choice and I was going to go out around the same time, I would have said, keep me around just a little bit longer and have me and Sasha take part in all-out war and show us be true soldiers together and see what the hell that would look like, and then take me out. I feel like, personally, and I've said this before, I told this to Scott, I think taking out the two of us at the same time was a waste. Because you would have had the same impact if you took out Steven alone, and then you could have done the same thing 3 or 4 episodes later and had another, like, oh my gosh, you know. So I would have just gone a little bit longer, but I do feel it was a better death in the TV show than in the comics, and so was Kirkman. So, yeah.
But you said this beautifully. It's a hard question to ask, because if you ask that question and we give you an answer, and the soundbite, you know, it can be interpreted as like, you know, oh, I wish this was different, or, you know, and it's not that. I love my life the way it is. I love where I am in my life, you know. We're talking about a parallel universe, but I don't, it's such a pontification, because at the same time, there are other people and other characters that have excelled and thrived and fallen in love and done beautiful things because I went out earlier, right? So it's just kind of like, it's just a different road. It's just kind of a different story, but it's not, you know, like, I would have preferred more time, not that much more time, but a little bit more time, but it is what it is, and it's all good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead over here.
Hi, I love The Boys, I love The Walking Dead, but my question is for Michael. What can we expect from Lex Luthor in season 4 of Superman and Lois?
I guess we're gonna have to watch season 4. You know how this works. You will not be disappointed. Lex continues to be as terrifying as he was when he was introduced last season. So you're gonna be happy.
Go ahead.
My question is for Michael. In your final episode, in your final line, "Suck my nuts," was that improv? And how did that relate to your character, like Abraham, in that moment?
I did not improv it. I didn't improv any of all the fun one-liners that everybody loves. Scott and I had conversations about things when I felt we could go further, but that's all I would say. I think we could have more fun in here. We used to call it sauce. I think we could put more sauce in here. It's like, all right. So they go back and they play with it. And I think there was one writer, I think Corey, would go through and kind of Abraham it up throughout. I will not incriminate myself any further.
Obviously, she's carrying Lucille. Did you get Lucy? Did you get the bat? Did you get to keep it, or a version of it, or did you want it never near you again?
They had 4 or 5 of them. I think Jeffrey got one. I think Greg Nicotero got one. I think the rest were auctioned off by AMC.
Have you ever collected something or swiped something from the set of The Walking? Do you have anything?
Well, I don't know if anyone's gonna admit if they swiped.
Oh, well, I mean, we're all friends.
Here's the thing here, is like, I have a thing, I take stuff, but I tell them. I say, I'm taking this, just so you know. So I'm not stealing this, I'm taking it. If you need to charge me for it, you can charge me for it.
100%.
That's the way I do it, because I've heard stories of like, oh, so-and-so disappeared with his $4,000 suit. And you're like, what do you mean you disappeared? Like, yeah, take it if it's your suit, like, but I'm taking it, and do what you have to do, but it's now mine.
Charge me, because the truth of the matter is that people get in trouble if that. Like,
I didn't mean stealing. I mean, did you ever take anything? Yeah, but they do.
They do.
That's crazy.
People walk away with stuff all the time without telling you.
the one thing that I wish that I could have is my boy's costume. I wish that I could have that, but I know that it's probably in a museum somewhere because of, it's like so epic. Different show, but my God, that took months to make.
Have you seen her video for the boys?
Oh, you watched the video?
I watched the Chimps Don't Cry.
Yeah.
If you want to be simultaneously
horrified,
ecstatic, and incredibly disappointed, go onto Lori's Instagram and like and follow, and watch 3 clips in. 2-3 clips in, it's her doing a video, a charitable video, asking the question as to why chimps don't cry and the consequences of this. It will be very clear when you see it what I'm talking about. You may or may not thank me later, but it's incredible.
Yeah, that was
absolutely incredible.
I mean, my God, you know what I'm saying?
No,
it's like I was just like that was like the best day at the office. Go to a field in Toronto, Ontario, and just like
sing about
monkeys and and frolic in the fields and lay in the grass and.
I almost want to bring it up. And put it on.
I think that I have the practice gun from Andrea that Andrea had, because when I played Andrea, obviously she was a sharpshooter, and there was a Navy SEAL that I used to meet with on Saturdays outside of Sonoya, and he used to take me with a real gun on collision courses and put like cones and different things and run, shoot, run this, run that. So I was working with him on Saturdays, and then a lot of the scenes I was in, I was always getting my gun out or cleaning it or whatever. So I had a practice gun that I literally had by my bed, and I would run lines and like talk on the phone and watch television and just completely, so that it was second nature. Like I didn't even have to look at it. Like it was literally, because it was like an extension of her. So there is, because I just got my storage out of Georgia, my husband was like, is that a real gun? I'm like, no, I don't think it is, or maybe it is with blanks.
She's like, I don't know, why?
But I have a gun. It might be a practice one.
Maybe it's a real gun.
Which I asked for, thank you.
Thank you for that. Go ahead over here.
So there's kind of a famous blooper clip of like a bunch of walkers and someone sneezes and someone else says bless you and everyone starts laughing. It's quite famous. But I wanted to ask if there's any memorable blooper moments that you guys experienced and found really funny.
From The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Bloopers? I mean,
there's not a lot.
No, I mean the only thing that I remember that was like cheeky and cute was that a bunch of, somebody's got it on video. They would put on Michael Jackson's Thriller, and we were all in hair and makeup, and we would all like do the dance, and it was like all of us. So it was just, it was kind of fun to see that like earlier in the day we were all sobbing, and then we were like being all cheeky doing Michael Jackson's Thriller. That was fun. I hope somebody has that on video at some point. That was a really joyous memory.
I don't have any. I mean, there were a couple little things that happened, but generally the pace of the show was so fast, and the intensity of the scenes. There was not a, you know, when things did go wrong, they were like, it was only funny because it was not funny. Like it was like, you know, something needed to happen, and you went to go do it, and it just didn't happen. I had a thing where I was supposed to pull down a piece of paper on a window that was papered up and look out. It was at the very end of this long scene with myself and Steven, and it was sort of the punctuation, you know, I was like, you know, you look out there and boom, you know, point to something, and it was, the whole scene had gone great. It's like you look out there and you miss the paper like 6 times. It's like, just, okay, don't look out there, you know, but it's like little stuff like that. But nothing too goofy, nothing like the glitter bomb with, you know, Andy and Norman, which happened after work, but you've seen the video, I'm sure.
There is a meme on the internet of me kissing a zombie, and I like keep kissing his face, and he's like kind of like, you know, and that's Greg Nicotero, and he was in zombie makeup, and previously he was trying to attack me, and because, you know, we were good friends, you know, obviously like after the take I was like, you know, this is so fun, and I was like, and somebody took a video of that and turned it into a meme, and I think it's called Don't Make Me Love You or something, and you just see him in zombie makeup and Andrea just like kissing his face like again and again and again. Like, it's pretty cute, you know, I don't know. It's like, you know, it's a heavy show. You gotta have like the sweetness and the fun and the Michael Jackson Thriller, and you know, you gotta like lighten the mood.
Okay, so I see that we have you three. You'll be our last questions because unfortunately we have to wrap it up. But thank you for obviously spending time with us. So we'll give it to the last 3 here. Go ahead.
Who are your guys' all-time favorite characters from, like, Walking Dead, like, your personal favorite characters?
Judith. Judith is my favorite character. I want that life. Sit in the bassinet, poop, get fed. Everybody's doing everything they can to protect me. Come on.
For me, I think it's Carol, because as a woman, I just think that she was written so brilliantly, that she was, you know, someone that was beaten by her husband and didn't have a voice, and that she just rose from the ashes and became a leader. And I mean this with all of my heart, because we've stayed in close touch. I love her madly, Melissa McBride. I celebrate every moment of her. So, yes, Team Carol, yes, best character ever. Go ahead, Linda.
Hello. I just, both of you, and I love The Walking Dead and all the other stuff you've done. This is kind of a cheesy question, but if you could play any other character on the show, who would you want to play? Could be anyone.
Judith.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that, because I kind of.
You can't.
You can't. I mean,
Every character, if myself or Lori was to play another character, that character would be different than what we picture them as. So.
Yeah, Andrea's my soul connection. She's the person I was meant to play. So, and I think that everybody has played their parts absolutely beautifully, and they were meant to play those characters. And you know, yeah.
Now there's people that I wish my character interacted with.
Yeah.
Like Merle. I think Abraham and Merle. That would have been
So fun.
redonkulous. Abraham and Tyrese again. So there's that. But I don't think I'd want to be.
I mean, if I
anyone.
was a hunky guy living my best life, I'd be Daryl Dixon. I mean, he's living in France now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, I'm okay being Andrea. That's what I was meant to be.
Cool. And our final little question over here, no pressure, right?
Better be good.
I realize you just said you don't like what-if questions, but had Andrea and Abraham met and been on the show at the same time, how do you see their relationship? Do you think they would have got along, been good friends, butt heads? Could they have been a romantic relationship? What do you think the dynamic would have been?
I think maybe all of the above, because she's a very incredibly strong character, a strong woman, and he would have responded to that. And yeah, he kind of got with everybody, so.
I would have loved to have worked with you because you're so soulful.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I talk about. Like, there's people that's the biggest regret. People say, what do you miss most about the show? And it's like, the thing I miss most about the show is the people. The storytelling and the artistic sort of community, but the people, you know, and we don't miss each other because we see each other throughout the year 2 or 3 times. I was very fortunate. I was able to direct once I stopped acting on the show, so I kept in touch with everybody. But I think he would absolutely have responded positively because she had her shit together.
I love him.